Welcome to the Mustardseed Media Video Podcast. My name is Bob, and this is the podcast for Drupal web designers. On this week's podcast, we talk about one of my favorite modules because it makes life very easy. If you build sites and you rebuild the same feature over and over again, say a blog section or a news archive or something like that, it's a real pain to keep building it over and over every time. Instead, wouldn't it be nice to have a feature basically contain all of that stuff into a single place where you could just turn it on and it would be everything that you just built, so you don't have to build it again. That's what the features module does. That's what we're going to look at today. Just a side note, because I may forget to mention it, one of the other awesome benefits of features module is that it saves things to a module that are normally saved in a database. Things like views and content type definitions and things like that, if you put it in a database, you can't version control it. You may lose it if you don't back up your database properly. Whatever. And it's easy to move between databases. It's a great way to move some of these things between sites, between databases that are normally stored in the database. So another great reason to use this module we're going to look at today. So let's look at features module. It is awesome. So here it is, drupal.org/project/features. And you can see that it's compatible with a bunch of stuff today. We're going to show you how it's compatible with context module and views module as well as CCK. You can read all of this stuff. It is all good stuff. It also, I believe, has some kind of drush capability, although I haven't actually used that yet, but I'm sure it does. So what we're going to build today as a sample is just a news archive. I've sort of built it here already, and that is a key step to using features. The first thing you want to do is on your site, or on any site, or on your development box, or wherever, you want to build the whole thing that you want to reuse exactly as you want to reuse it. So let's look at the news archive that I've created here. It's got a menu item, so if we go to it, and we can look at the archive. It's got a page that is powered by views, so this is a view showing me all my news items. We've got a sidebar block. This might show you the next 10 not being shown on the page or something like that. And we're powering all of this through a content type called news, and it happens to have an attachment field on it. I've went ahead and just let Devel generate all of those news items for me. And we're also, you're going to notice that if we go to the news archive and we click on an item, this sidebar block stays. That tells you most likely that we are using context module. So we've got a context called news. Go back and watch my podcast on context if you don't know how this works. And in here we've said if it's a news page, the path is news, or we're in the news view, then put this news block on the first sidebar. So we've got a content type. We've got a couple of different views. I'll go ahead and look at those views real quick just so you can see them. This view is the news archive page and the sidebar block with all of my settings that I want, including layout, filters, all kinds of stuff. And so now let's say that this is something I want to reuse. I want to take this to a different site and reuse it somewhere else. The first thing I want to do is I want to create a feature out of it. So I have features module installed. I'm going to go to site building features. These are some other features that I've created that I'm not going to use for this. I'm going to create a new feature. So I'm going to click create feature. I'm going to name it. Now, something to note here is to make sure you name this something different than an existing Drupal module. Don't name this blog. Don't name this audio. Name it something that's going to be unique. Otherwise, you're going to run into some conflicts, especially with update status and some other things. So I'm going to name it. You're going to see it's going to give me a machine name, which I can edit if I want to. I'm going to put in just a description. Now, you version this, it really is going to output a module, a real actual module when we're all done here. So you want to version it just like you would version a Drupal module. And I'm just going to put 6.x 1.0. To be honest, this is something I don't use. This is to, I suppose, hook it in with update status to be able to update your module. I'm not sure. Haven't done that before. But now we get to the cool part. Let's add our components. Components are all the things that are going to be included in the feature. So let's first add our content type. We want to include the news content type in this feature. By doing that, you're going to see that it's also included my CCK field that I created, the news content type, and it's going to tell me I have two module dependencies. One is features, obviously, because we're using features module, but the other is file field, because this field in CCK uses file field, so it auto-detected that. Let's next go to permissions. We're not going to set any permissions, but you can include permissions in your feature. Context, I did create a context for news. I'm going to include that. You can see that it's now included over here. And now my dependencies include context module. For views, I'm going to include my view that I created for this. So that's going to be included. And now you'll see that views module is required. And then we can also require other modules if we want to. For some reason, if we wanted to make sure maybe they had views UI on, so you could edit the view or anything else, you can manually include modules here. Most of the time, these auto-detected modules do a pretty good job. Just a side note too, I don't have any image fields on here, but imagecache is supported, so it will import all of your imagecache settings as well, which is very nice. So when I'm all done, I click download feature, and this is actually going to download a module to my desktop. So I'm going to say OK. Now what I want to do is I want to drop this module into my site's modules directory. So into sites, all modules. So let me do that. I got to open a new window here. Oops. And let me go to my Drupal install. And so I'm going to go to sites, all modules. What's actually a really good idea is to create, if you don't have something maybe called custom or something like that, good idea to create a directory. And then I would put all my features in here. So I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to drop my news feature, which you'll see is a zip file. I got to unzip it first. And I'll drop it in there. And now, when I go back to manage, you'll see that my news feature is here. All I have to do is enable it. Click Save Settings. Now it's been created. You're not going to see anything different because I already created this feature on the site. The feature is already there because I built it to test. But let's go ahead, and what I'm actually going to do is I'm using a module called Demo, and I'm going to reset my site so it doesn't have anything that I just built. It's going to erase everything, including any content I've created or anything like that. But I want to show you that you can re-enable your feature on a completely clean site, and it'll just work. Okay, so the site has now reset. So now if we go to content types, you're going to see that that news content type is gone. You're also going to see that my view is gone. You're also going to see that my context is gone. So let's go into features again, and we're going to see the feature that I just built, the news feature. I'm going to enable it, save it. You're going to see just like magic, that re-enabled my entire feature. So if I go to my news archive, there is no content, of course, because I deleted all my content, but you can see that my view is there, just as it was before. You can see that my context is there, just as it was before. And you can see that I now have the news content type back, just like that. Very cool way to move some actual features, some whole packages of features around on your site. Go check out Features module, play with it. It's not scary. I didn't use it for a while right in the beginning because it seemed a little scary. Very, very simple to use. Hopefully you enjoy it. As always, if you appreciate the podcast, we don't say thank you enough for everybody who chips in. Lots of people chip in on the podcast. If you want to throw a couple of dollars at it, look for the chip in link in the top right corner of the podcast page and follow us on Twitter and Facebook. In the meantime, we'll see you very soon with another Mustardseed Media video podcast. Have a great week.